Hey, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We're going to continue our journey of learning just a little bit more about this amazing language. Last time we talked about 三长两短, which is kind of life, like risking your life. In the risk-taking level, it's like amped up to the max, which is the cost of life. So that's the 三长两短, because it's the shape of the coffin, have 3 long panels and 2 short panels at the end. That's our expression, our very indirect, implied, but horrifying image of that may cost your life, because your body is going to that 3 long and 2 short structure. So today we're going to continue with 三 and 两. 三天打鱼,两天晒网. So if you see, it's made up of 8 characters, which is maybe a little bit overwhelming. That's because it's not that of a classical Chinese. Chinese, we like to make up of 4s. So we use 4 characters to express, to capture the main concepts, like main teachings or way of life or wisdoms into this 4 character phrases. But when you see 8, sometimes 5, sometimes uneven, like not 4 character structure, that means it's a more colloquial expression. It's not that elegant or highbrow or classical Chinese. So 三天打鱼两天晒网 are also like, is pretty much alive in our current language. People, especially teachers, use that a lot. 三天打鱼两天晒网. So let's unpack what that means. 3, right? We have this heaven, earth, and human, this structure. So the concept of 3 actually is visually depicting the relationship between humans and heaven and earth. Okay, and then we talked about 两 before, right? It comes from this heaven, the top line, splitting down, like I have one vertical line going downward, and then I have a space, and each space have this human figure in it. So it means a twin or a pair of things. So instead of just 2, right, which is kind of separated, you have heaven and earth, they're not mingled, they're separate, 2 individual things, different entities. You have this 两 concept of coming from the same origin, the sky, and then have the exact 2 replicas of things. And so that's the pair and twin. So that's different from just R. This is 两, means 2 pretty much the same replicas of things. Okay, you have 三 两 out of the way, and then we have 天. So we have horizontal line already means our sky, but just by 1 horizontal line in our abstraction, that means number 1, because the world comes from 1 thing, which is the sky, which is the universe. That's the way in Chinese culture understand how things come into being, right? We come from 1, which is this universe. And then this 1 concept, abstract concept of 1, it's just horizontal line. So we cannot say that, use that as the sky symbol, because it's much bigger than that. It's much more abstract in that, in our philosophical understanding of the universe. So we use almost like this human figure, right? And with a drapey arm, kind of like that, below the sky, to make sure you understand that that's the sky concept to understand. It's like above a human figure. And that's our limit, or our visible upper bound of our world, which is the sky. I mean, back then, probably people cannot fly yet, so they cannot really get into the sky. They're still pretty much under the ground, but in the world of every day, we can still see the stars and sun, moon on the sky. So celestial beings on the sky. So that's how we relate ourselves to the universe, right? So that's the concept of sky. And okay, so we have 4 characters out of the way already. Now, 打鱼 and 晒网. 打 have this 5-finger hand symbol on the left, right? And then have this kind of spear looking thing on the right. So it does come from this something related to your hand, from your action. And then because there is a spear shape involved, so that means with your hand, you're going to capture something, or you're going to hit something. And that effect, almost like a spear, like pin it down, right? So that's the kind of a catch we're talking about. 打鱼, okay. This is very visual representation of the most commonly seen water-based animal. And it has the scales, right? These are the scales depiction. And this is the head of the fish, kind of almost like a human figure. So I guess we kind of assign a little bit of intelligence to that animal. And then the bottom is simply, I mean, it's a fire symbol. It looks like a fire symbol, but it's used to depict the tail. So we have the head and the tail and the scales in between. So that's a kind of, they're concrete enough for other language users besides the original language creator to recognize, oh, that's fish. That's a very visually fish. No mistake on that, but it's a generic fish. We're going to pair this fish symbol with other sound/meaning makers and together to create a whole universe or species or different types of fish that way. But this is the generic fish. Okay, so 打鱼 means catch fish, and 晒网 means the tool to catch fish, which is the 网. You're going to 晒, you're going to dry it, air dry, or sun dry actually. So 网 is easier to see, right? It's just like fish. It's a visual representation of things. So we have the space, this big arch, that means a space of things. And then you have 2 crosses, and that's enough to represent things are repeated pattern within there. So you don't have to, fill it out with busy crosses. Nobody's going to do that. It's inefficient, but just with 2 is enough to show you there's a pattern in there that repeated in this way, and things are going to connect it like in this way. And that's enough to show you that that is the net. So in fish catching, I mean, I'm not a fisherman, but I would imagine net is commonly used because it's not to catch individual fish, it's catch a bunch of fish, right? That's more efficient fish catching tool. 晒, okay, we have the sun symbol. Okay, we're talking about a lot before this box. So this box it means an object, right? Something take up a space. But then we have a horizontal line in the middle of the box that I interpreted as the energy source from that object. So what's the most commonly seen object, sphere, with energy emitting from it? That's our sun symbol, okay? And the right side is actually pretty complicated. It looks like a deer in the ancient language depiction. So this is kind of the body of the deer, and then the 4 legs. We have 4 legs, and this kind of the tail of the deer, right? This is the main like rib cage of the deer, and then you have 2 horns. I don't know why horns are represented like that, but there was this deer image depicted next to the sun symbol, and apparently it was used as a sound maker. And then because the sun is the main concept, the whole thing means to kind of sunbathing. So you have the sun, you're exposed under the sun, and then you're going to dry things, just sun dry like that. As a Chinese, I still sun dry a lot of my clothing. Like I don't use dryer that much, but recently, yes, I kind of converted to the Western way, but sun dry is really a good way to dry because it's free, it's natural resource, and you have that amazing sun-kissed smell on your laundry if you sun dry it. It's something beyond what a dryer can give you. It's that, it bath, your clothing bathed in the sun for a day, and not guaranteed it's going to be dry. I mean, I'm living in Southern California, so we have plenty of suns. So sun dry your net. The whole concept would be you're going to fish 3 days. Okay, 3 days in a row, actually. 三天打鱼. And then you're going to take 2 days to sun dry your net. That means you're doing something with a lot of breaks in between. You're not doing it like 5-day work day. If back then we have 5-day work days, you take 2 days off just to, as if you have a good reason to take days off. But instead, you use the excuse is to dry your net, which is totally unnecessary. I mean, the net must be waterproof. Like you can cast the net, whatever, keep the net wet, who cares? Because net, it goes to the water anyways. It's not going to get rotten or something. Maybe it does, but you don't need to take 2 days to dry your net. For sure. That's an excuse, a very lame excuse not to do the work. So oftentimes teachers use 三天打鱼两天晒网 to address to the students, whoever are kind of, cruising along, doesn't put in consistent hard work in their school, and just, take too often big chunk of time of break. So I translate it as on and off. So somebody who is inconsistent in their, not persistent in endeavor of doing something. They 三天打鱼, but take 2 days to 晒网. Okay, another fisherman image. This is a very idyllic scenery in China that's in the southwest part of China. Got this mountain, a lot of time covered in the clouds, and this beautiful reflections and the lake, and this lifestyle of fishermen over there fishing. It become a thing, but I'm not sure like how, like in the industrial age, fish are more fish pond raised. Like very few people will capture wild fish like that. Is probably posed for picture, but it's still a kind of a preserved the old way lifestyle before the industrialized fishing happen. And this is the old way. And a lot of times the fishermen, this is the outfit of the fisherman with this cone-shaped hat and with 2 birds that helps the fisherman to capture fish. I don't exactly know how, but oftentimes they have this fish intelligence officers over there to accompany, and it's casting the net like that, right? And so the whole thing is very idyllic and scenic. But this is how fishing used to be carried out, and this is the fish net. You can see definitely it doesn't need 2 days to dry. Cash into the currency of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.